Hey everyone, thanks for visiting the channel. Dustin Hughes, number 85, CCS ASRA Expert Racer. With us being a little bit into the 2019 year, I'd like to take some time to do a little bit of review of my 2018 race season. Overall, we had a great year with only running some select rounds, and every weekend we were fighting for the podium, which is not too shabby seeing that how high the level of competitiveness is in the ASRA and CCS paddock. So let's check it out. Summit Point Raceway, Memorial Day weekend. It was definitely a good one for me. I was able to hit a very good personal best. In ASRA Sport Bike, I qualified 7th. The session would happen to be red flagged while I was on my hot lap. So I definitely feel that I could have qualified better had we been able to complete the full session. I ended up finishing 4th in the race with a best lap time of a 1:15.8. This overall was a really good race. It was damp from the rain the night before. I don't know, it just happened to be that the bike was set up really well, and I surprisingly had a lot of edge grip on the Pirelli DOT tires. VIR Festival of Speed in early June was good as well. While I was in the VIR prep, I noticed some weird stuff going on with the suspension. The settings were way off. To be honest, I don't even know how I did so well at Summit a few weekends prior. Preload was way out from what my notes were, and everyone I talked to tried blaming people messing around with the bike at night. I just find it really hard to believe that someone goes around at night with a 12mm socket and a screwdriver at 2 a.m. in the morning just to mess with people. But anyways, so we ended up making some big setup changes anyway, since I had to rework everything. But it ended up paying off. We did well in the races. I hit a personal best. The bike was way easier to ride. And VIR always tires me out, so I was very happy with that. Big lesson learned that weekend. I started marking my suspension due to finding everything kind of out of whack. You can use something like a Sharpie, a paint pen, anything that just marks. But what I did is I noticed that every race the preload adjusters were backing out just a little bit, maybe a 16th, maybe an 8th. It was just a little bit. So now before every race, I check the suspension and I reset it back. So I think it's a good tip to live by, just to make sure your stuff is always same. You can be able to have your consistent feeling and whatnot. Summit Point Raceway end of June round, which happens to be my birthday. It's always a good weekend because I like going there. I get to spend it with the track family. People come to see me race. Families there. It's a good time overall. But I struggled. I didn't have the same feeling I did in the previous Summit round. The conditions were close to the same, so I didn't quite understand why the bike felt so different, even though we had the same setup from Memorial Day weekend on the bike. So we changed the setup to the VIR settings that I run, which inherently makes the bike turn better at the sacrifice of a little bit of braking stability. It felt better, but it wasn't the same. It didn't feel the same through corner entry and mid-corner. I just didn't feel like it complied with my inputs as well as I liked it to be. But with that being said, it was better. The lap times did come down, and it was good overall. But I didn't feel as good in the end. We managed some podiums, so all was not lost on the weekend. The last round of the year at Summit Point Raceway in August was a bit more the same. A wise man once told me, if you're not doing better, change something. So we did. I moved to a new location in the paddock to try to change it up, mess around with a lot of settings. I managed a podium again, but the bike still didn't feel the same. But it's racing, so let's go. The last round I was planning for the season was VIR in September. Unfortunately, it was rained out and canceled due to Hurricane Florence. I was super disappointed because I was excited to get back on the track and get some good results. It pretty much ended my season there. I wasn't planning to do any more due to work constraints and not being able to take off work during that time of year. But instead, I was able to finish out doing some track days and hanging out with some other track family. So 2018 brought some really fun times for me and some really great battles. I finished overall 24th out of 199 expert racers, 7th in the GTU class, 6th in heavyweight superbike, 10th in heavyweight super sport, 7th in middleweight superbike, and 8th in middleweight super sport. In the ASRA Sport Bike Expert Series, I finished overall 11th, but I had only raced a few rounds of that, so I personally think that's pretty good. 2019 is looking really bright, and I'm really looking forward to some rule changes that have been instated by CCS and ASRA. Most notably, being able to run slicks in the Super Sport class, where previously only being able to run DOT tires in the Super Sport class. We've been asking for this for a few years now, and I really think it's a good direction to go. This can cut costs for riders that have to manage multiple sets of tires between DOTs and slicks for certain races. I personally only run DOT race tires. I don't switch to slicks for the Superbike and GP style races. I personally don't think it's worth the marginal gain for the extra added cost, and I think that other riders can sympathize with that. But overall, like I said, it can lower the cost of the weekend, which I think is good. That can potentially bring more riders in, not having to deal with all that nonsense. And again, I'm a huge fan of keeping it simple, so I'm just happy we're able to use slicks, and that's it. In another direction, I really wanted to do the 19 Daytona 200, but I personally don't think my fitness and my endurance is where I'd like it to be. I want to be competitive, but I also don't want to take the dive and bomb it a half or 2/3 way through and not being able to finish. The point of going is to finish, and it's a huge race, it's historic, but I want to finish, so I need to work on that. I've done well there in the past. I just think the 200 is a completely different animal than doing a 25-minute race. I'm thinking of it like as training from couch to 5K, but doing the 200 is like training from couch to marathon. I'm just personally not there yet. So that's what 2019 is about. I'm going to do a lot of training and such, and hopefully get to that level. So I'd like to do a shout out to Swingset for providing me the sick thread for the video. It's a great company. It's one of my close friends. They make some awesome stuff, so you definitely got to check them out. I'll provide a link in the description below. And then I would like to throw another shout out to my 2018 support team and whatnot, and my sponsors. So first, my team DCVH, it's me and some friends and my girlfriend. Small team, but we mean big. Gawler Motorsports for the paint on the bike this year, blew it out of the park. Does awesome paint, and you can tell from my bike that it's pretty. Woodcraft, giving me some good parts, clip-ons, rear sets, odds and ends you need, stands, they're who you want. Hindle Exhaust for making the bike sound super good. Makes good power, sounds good, I don't know what more you can ask. LeathersLink Leathers for making some custom suits for me, always on point. Great guy to work with, whatever you need, he makes it. I mean, literally anything. Bell Helmets, Boss Racing for setting up the bike with the tuning, doing the engine build, MRP for doing the suspension. Good stuff. You guys got to check them out. Anyways, I'm really looking forward to the 2019 season. Going to be doing a lot of cycling, going to be doing a lot of training, and hopefully get some dirt riding in and some track days before the season actually starts. We have some big plans, so keep an eye out for that. I plan to be posting more to the YouTube this year. We're going to be doing a documentary vlog series of the race weekends and the build up to that, so please subscribe to check that out. Anyways, until then, I'll see you at the track.